Shout out to Caressa McKnight for sending me this story, and this is coming out of Bronxville, New York. Not the Bronx, but Bronxville. And notice every time there's a town or a city with the word "ville" in it, it's always some kind of racist shit that will come from it. And this story is no different. I don't care if it's out of New York, but it sounds like it came out of upstate New York. But this story right here, it sounds like it came straight out of the typical Black History Month trope that we've been hearing, and that is having these teachers mock up slavery and basically pretending having the white kids be slave masters or slave owners and the black kids be slaves. But the article states, well, the title reads, "Teacher forced black students to be quote unquote sold to white students in mock slave auctions." A New York State investigation found that students at a private Lutheran school in Bronxville were negatively affected after a fifth grade teacher forced them to enact a mock slave auction. According to the New York State Attorney General Letitia James' office, the teacher at the Chapel School forced black students to wear imaginary shackles and encouraged white students to bid on them in a mock slave auction. The Attorney General office said the teacher held mock slave auctions in two separate fifth grade social study classes in March, supposedly as a part of the curriculum on colonial America. The teacher, who was not named, was fired following the incidents. Now look at there. They have already given the teacher protection from something that happened back in March, and they have yet to release the person's name. How much you want to bet this is a white woman? Now, I had just did a video talking about where it has been exposed that white women owned 40% of slaves during chattel slavery. Notice that always when it comes to these type of stories where they have these mock slave auctions, it's always a white female teacher that is behind it. Always. So I'm almost certain that it is a white woman that's behind this as well. I keep telling y'all, they are not far removed from their ancestors, and they keep proving my statement correctly. According to the Attorney General, the teacher asked all of the black students in each class to raise their hands and then told them to wait in the hallway. The teacher then placed imaginary chains and shackles on the black students' wrists, necks, and ankles and had them walk back into the classroom. The teacher then told the students to line up against the wall and proceeded to conduct a mock slave auction, selling the black students to the white students in the class. Now, before I go any further, that is also an indoctrination tactic where it's going to indoctrinate the white children to have domination over the black kids or black people in general, or have the black kids feel subservient towards their white peers. And back in those times during slavery, even if the black slave, man or woman, was an adult and the white individual was a child, even at under the age of 10, they could still talk to that slave any type of way that they wanted to. And you bet not dare had talked to that child and called them by their first name. You had to call them master, then their name. Because that's how much control they had over the slave, no matter how old they were, even if they were an adult. Because they weren't seen as human, they were seen as property. And when you look at property, you don't address it in a manner that you would address a human being. Hell, they treated their pets better, and in a way they still do. Let's see, the investigation found that the teachers' reenactments in the two classes had a profoundly negative effect on all of the students present, especially the African American students and the school community at large. The Chapel School, located about 15 miles north of Manhattan, said 43% of their students are minorities. The school enrolls children from pre-kindergarten to 8th grade, and annual tuition cost is up to $14,000. According to the school's website, 5th grade students, the grade in which the mock slave auctions took place, paid $12,400 yearly tuition. If I were those parents, I would pull every last kid out of that school and sue that school and that teacher, because y'all couldn't tell me that school didn't know about this. Because they said she did it in two separate classes. The investigation also revealed prior complaints from parents to school administration regarding the school's lack of racial sensitivity. The investigation found the school did not take sufficient steps to address the complaints. Following the Attorney General's investigation, the school has agreed to Develop and submit a staff diversification plan for increasing minority representation among faculty. Hire a chief diversity officer approved by Attorney General James. Retain a diversity consultant for help educating students and school employees about racial and ethnic diversity. Develop a new financial aid to increase diversity in the student body. Submit a new code of conduct to the Attorney General's office for addressing racial and ethnic discrimination and harassment. Create a formal complaint procedure for students of parents to report harassment or discrimination. Submit a school discipline reform plan intended to create equal disciplinary action to all students and maintain records of complaints and investigations. Now there, I just read for you, let me see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. If they have to do all of that, then that shows you that that school has a problem with some of the teachers that they hire. Now they had to drop all of that for one person. And they always like to go the route of trying to do some kind of sensitivity training. They do this all the time. That does not work. It doesn't. Every time they try to do it, it just backfires each and every time. And to me, that's taking the easy way out without actually facing real consequences. That in itself is an insult, and it is a slap on the wrist. Attorney General James said every young person, regardless of race, deserves the chance to attend school free of harassment, bias, and discrimination. Lessons designed to separate children on the basis of race have no place in New York classrooms or in classrooms throughout this country. I thank the Chapel School for agreeing to take measures that directly address the issues of race, diversity, and inclusion at the school. My office will continue efforts to promote safe environments where all students can learn and thrive, James said in a statement. The fact that they kept this chick's identity, or this teacher's, because I'm just assuming that it's a white woman. The fact that they kept the teacher's identity away and did not give out who it was, let you know something. And on top of that, I don't even think they revealed the name of the school in this article. They just said what type of school it was. They said it was just a chapel school in Bronxville, New York. So they giving protection all the way across the board. But I did find an image of the school, but I can't find the name of it. So even though she got fired, quote unquote, she's still being protected because we don't know what she looks like or what they look like, and we don't know their name. But like I said, I'm almost assuming that it was a white woman that's doing this because it always is them when it comes to this. I'll be pleasantly surprised if I'm wrong. But we do know one thing. This person was 9 times out of 10 white. And you know what? This is so funny. These are the same people that tell us that we need to get over slavery. Every time it's brought up, they said it's in the past and all this and the third. But how many of these mock slave trials, or auctions, I should say, have they had this year alone? For a group of people that want us to get over it or forget it or forgive it, they have no problem constantly bringing it back to the forefront at the expense of our kids. Now y'all see why I call her the historical white bitch. It's a loaded statement, but it has to be said and is backed up in facts as to why she's referred to that from me. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next one.